Hello, welcome to episode 112 of Daryl Show Your Work. So, in this episode, I'll be covering everybody's favorite piece of spyware, keyloggers. All right, and I'll be showing how exactly when it comes to post exploitation, how we can then enable a keylogger to capture a target host's keystrokes or a user of a target host's keystrokes to then either further enumerate their system or capture some clear text credentials to then authenticate into their system later on. All right, so before I jump any further into this video, I'm going to preface it with my usual disclaimer since I'm doing a red teaming offensive security activity here. And by saying that this is for security research, excuse me, this is for research ethical and educational purposes only. Any sort of malicious actions that may directly or indirectly come from someone watching my video, I don't take any responsibility for, nor do I condone. All right, so just to give a high level overview for anyone that may not be familiar with keyloggers, it's exactly the way it sounds. So it's the process of recording or capturing the keystrokes entered on a target system. All right, so I'm going to be going through first showing how we can then use this, and I'm going to actually be generating the keystrokes as the user on the target system, just so we can see how that works. All right, so I've done a few things here prior to starting the video. One, I've done some discovery and I've gotten our target host IP address here. So they're at 10.3.28.230. And I've also got us a meterpreter session by compromising target host by exploiting the bad blue web server application via the bad blue pass-through buffer overflow attack. All right, so I'm already I got a connection here with the system. So let's start this off by doing a bit of enumeration. All right. So first, let's see what my let's move this over here. And it's going to be one of those days where I have to drag it over here. There we go. Okay. There. All right. There we are. All right. So I'm gonna start off by doing some enumeration. Sorry, another thing, my system's running really slow today. Not sure what is causing that. All right, so let's see what session interpreter I'm running along with the session, the version of Windows. So we see I have a 32-bit interpreter session here, um, and it is interacting with a 64-bit version of Windows Server 2012 revision 2. So to conduct this post exploitation activity, I am going to need a 64-bit session. Excuse me. So to do that, I'm just going to do it the old-fashioned way. And the reason I'm going to do it the old-fashioned way because I want to target a specific process, the explorer.exe process. Because actually, the keylogger actually works best when migrating to this specific process. So I'm going to say pgrep and then explore. And let's see what process ID I get for that. So, all right, the process ID for that is 2156. So I'm going to migrate to the process 2156, which is the Explorer process. And I should have my 64-bit session once doing that. All right, so then let's do sysinfo again. All right, we can see now that I have my 64-bit interpreter session going along with the 64-bit version of Windows Server 2012. All right, let's see. Let's do a get UID to see who I'm logged in as and the potential level of privileges that I have. All right, so great. I am logged in as an administrator, not necessarily full system authority, but this should be enough privileges in order for me to continue on with this post exploitation activity. All right, so I'm going to go to the help menu just because I want to show the three commands that I'm going to be primarily using on this video to carry out this um, key logging scenario. All right, let's go up just a little bit here. Waiting for my. All right. So we can see these. If we look under the user interface commands, I'm going to be using these three commands right here. All right. So I'm going to be using the key scan dump, key scan start, and key scan stop, and they all are exactly how they sound. So with the key scan start, that's how I'm going to start the capturing the keystrokes of the target host, and then the key scan dump is how I'm going to dump whatever that input is. That's how I'm going to dump it into my system to see what input was did the actual a user of the target host input into their system. So of course, looking for anything that would give me an idea of any type of commands that they could potentially run. That would then help me to understand, you know, how much privilege they have. If I could see that they run a high level, they could pull off some high level commands within something that I could figure out is either the command prompt or the PowerShell application. Then I would be able to know that, okay, well, this account at least has at minimum administrative privileges, and or you know, best case scenario, they actually put in some clear text credentials. Then I could then use to authenticate into the system myself. All right. And then, of course, then there's key scan stop, which then is how I stop capturing the keystrokes. All right, so let's go back down here, and we see some other little fun things that can be done, but I'm not going to be um, doing it today. You know, we can see we could record someone's we could open up someone's microphone for recording, do all type of little neat stuff with the webcam. But again, that's out of the scope of what I'm doing doing in this video. But we can see there's a lot more fun that could be had with Meterpreter. Okay, so to get started here, before I start up the key the keystroke sniffer, I'm gonna go here to the target machine, so I can switch between the attack machine and target machine from up here. So right now I'm in the target machine, and we can see that they're indeed using bad blue, and that's what I exploited to get my interpreter session here. All right, so going to the start menu, I'm gonna look up. First, I'm gonna use Notepad. All right. Oops. All right. I have that application open. So now I'm gonna switch back to the attacker machine and let's start up. Let's use that first command. Let's use that key scan start. All right. So it says starting keystroke sniffer. All right. So I'm gonna jump back to the target machine. All right. So let's input some. Well, let's generate some input rather. So I'm gonna say username. And then we're gonna say admin. And then we're going to say password hacked 321. All right. So going back to the attacker machine here, I'm going to then do a key scan dump, and let's see if it recorded um, those keystrokes. And bam, there we go. All right. So you can see where I kind of blundered, did some backspaces here, and so we can see that username, and then we can see where I then typed in admin. All right, and then password, we can see where I clearly typed in hack321. So if I'm the attacker, I can now see what these credentials are, and I can generate um, some more um, input here. So I'm gonna write, if I wanted to see, can I see a string of text? I would say this is some test data. All right. And just to make sure that, so just because I did a key scan dump, that doesn't mean that I automatically stop the key scan sniffer. All right, so that scan sniffer should still be going even though I did a key scan dump. So to test that, I'm gonna do another key scan dump. All right, so we can see that that's still going. And so this is just not application specific. So I'm gonna just jump into another application here and show that we can record what's going on there too. So I'm gonna start up PowerShell. All right, and I'm gonna just do a simple IP config here. All right. So then if I jump back to the attacker machine, let's do key scan dump again. All right, so I can't necessarily see the output of that here, but I can see the input. So I can still see, this is what I mean about being able to see what commands that the user on the compromised user on this machine can to use to be able to further enumerate potentially what level of permissions they have, because you could, if you can only run certain commands if you're an administrator. All right, so IP config, that's uninteresting because pretty much any user could use an IP config command. But if they're running some command that starts up or closes or changes a password on the system, I can see all of that. So if they were to change somebody's password, like I showed in a previous video, well, I could see that not only can they change the password, but I can see what they changed the password to, and then I know which other account to compromise besides just this administrator account that I'm spying on. So I have now, because of that, I have access to multiple accounts. So that's just an example of how dangerous key logging can be. So that pretty much brings me to the end of my video. And of course, if we want to stop all of this, I would just do um, key scan stop, and that should stop the sniffer. Oh, well, I got to spell key scan right. There we go. And then stop and key scan sniffer. All right. So yeah, that brings me to the end of my video. Just want to do a quick demonstration of how keystroke sniffers work, or key logging in general works. All right, and show how that function can be utilized within Meterpreter, and just speak to how dangerous that could potentially be, and just show some different things, ways in which it can track keystrokes, and how that can enable an attacker to either do a further enumeration, or just flat out just gain user credentials to then compromise even more accounts. So please like, subscribe, and share. Most importantly, show your work. Until next time, take care of yourself, and God bless.